Hello, welcome back to Baking Bakers. Today, we're cooking pork tenderloin and oven roasted potatoes. So I'm on my own here today. We are back in my kitchen and it's not quite spring yet. We're getting close. It is almost grilling season. We're gonna fire up that smoker, do some really fun stuff outside. But I am a fair weather smoker. I don't go out and do it when it's the middle of winter. It's just, I don't. So we're cooking a good one for in the house. This is a good winter recipe. I know winter's almost over here, but that's when I cook it a lot. In the summer, we would do this on the smoker, but we're gonna go ahead and cook some oven roasted potatoes. I'm gonna show you how I like to do them. A really good recipe that I've got. We're going to get a pork tenderloin all trimmed up, ready to go, and we're gonna sear it in our cast iron skillet. We're gonna throw that cast iron straight into the oven, and then we're gonna wait for them to get done. The potatoes are gonna take quite a bit longer to cook than the pork tenderloins, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with them. So the first thing we need here is a pot of water. We've got a big enamel coated cast iron pot here that I'm gonna use to, we're gonna parboil our potatoes. So we're gonna get this started to boil. We're gonna turn that on, turn on power. And in the meantime, we're gonna come back over here. We've gotta slice up our potatoes. All right, so I got my little itty bitty cute cutting board here. And I've got some potatoes. We already have peeled them and rinsed them off. And we're just going to cut these up into fairly large chunks. So like this little potato here, we're just gonna go ahead and quarter that one. We don't need that any smaller than that. If there's some larger potatoes like this one, we might do thirds or sixths, I guess. You know, something like that. But we want pretty large chunks. This one's got a little spot in the middle. I'm gonna just dig that out of there. Okay, I'm gonna do this to the rest of these. I think I've got, I don't know, 8 or 9 potatoes here, just kind of what I had. You can use as many as you need to make for the number of people you're trying to feed. One more. All right, we're gonna let those sit here while we wait for our water to boil. All right, our water has just started to boil. It's a good rolling boil. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of salt, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and the baking soda is because we want that water to be a little bit on the alkaline side. I'm gonna turn my heat down here so it just maintains that boil. And then we're gonna very carefully here add in our potatoes. And that's gonna cool it down so it stops boiling for a second. I'll get a spoon. We're gonna return it to a boil, and then we're going to turn the heat down so that they just simmer. And let them simmer for probably about 10 minutes. We want them to start to get soft. You can take a knife and check for resistance, but we just want to soften up the potatoes a little bit, especially the edges. So let this go for a little bit. All right, we are starting to boil here just a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this down some, not a lot, because we still want it to simmer. But we'll put it to there, and then we are going to set a timer for 10 minutes. And we're gonna just let that sit. Now while our potatoes are over here boiling, we're gonna come back over to the counter here and we're gonna start to prepare some ingredients for a coating, I guess. We're gonna mix up some olive oil with some garlic and some black pepper, and we're gonna make some roasted garlic topping that we're gonna put on these potatoes after they're done boiling or simmering over here. So the first thing we gotta do is chop up some fresh garlic. It's a little bit of a miracle that I have some fresh garlic, but we do, so we're gonna peel this head apart here, and we need, whoa, okay, not that one. We need 3 cloves, 3 good sized cloves. Oh boy, all right. Look at that, 3 cloves, perfect. All right, And get rid of some of this paper. And then we need to peel these, and the best way to do this is actually to take the side of your knife, put it right on top, and just smash them. And once you do that, you can peel the outside coating off of them pretty easily. So there's one. Another one. And there's our third one. Set them to the side here. All right, once we've got them peeled and our board cleaned up here, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of, I don't know, I'm gonna take off the end that had the root on it. I don't know if that's necessary or not. I like to do it. And we'll go ahead and get rid of that as well. Just push it off to the side here. Okay, so then we've got the rest of this, and we just want to mince it up as best that I can. Okay, that's chopped up good enough for me. So we're gonna let that sit there for right now while we get the rest of our ingredients around, and we'll throw them on the stove here. Okay, so we've got another little skillet here, saucepan. Nah, it's not really a saucepan, it's a skillet. We're gonna turn this on. I'm gonna call it medium heat. And the first thing we're gonna add is I have 5 tablespoons of olive oil here. Now, I almost needed a bigger bowl, but we got it. You could use other types of oils or fats or whatever, but olive oil is what I have. We are gonna add in our minced garlic. And we're gonna add a little bit of some fresh ground pepper. Now you could add some herbs here. I think the recipe that I found originally called for some rosemary or something along those lines. I don't keep fresh herbs in this house. That'd be a total waste for me. And so this is what we've got. This is what we're gonna use. So we're just gonna kind of heat this up, stir it around. Should only take 3 or 4 minutes here. Get a little bit of a brown on that garlic. Keep stirring it fairly consistently, especially once it gets warm. Turn this up a little bit more. I also have preheated our oven. I put it on the convection roast setting for 400 degrees. All right, our oil is sizzling over here. We can really smell that garlic coming off of this, infusing that flavor into the oil with the pepper. Smells really good. Our potatoes are just about done here. I've got a knife. We're just gonna go ahead and stab one, see if they're soft, and they are starting to get soft. Still stick to the knife, but that's okay. You can use a minute or 2 yet. As soon as we're done with this, we'll go ahead and take care of those potatoes. So, oh, we're starting to get some color here. That's what we wanna see. Just another few minutes or a few seconds here. So we're gonna pull this off, and we're going to strain the garlic pieces out And we're going to just put the oil in the bottom of this big bowl over here. Okay, that is starting to look good to me. So we will go ahead and grab our pan, strain it right into here. Sorry, you can't see anything when I hold the bottom of the pan to you. Anyway, that is good. Now we're going to save this garlic. We're just going to set it right back in the pan there, but we're going to save that for later. We're going to need that. Now we've got our oil infused with garlic in this bowl. We're going to use that to toss our potatoes in just a minute here. So now our potatoes are done here. Let's back you guys up. I'm happy with those. I'm going to grab some hot pads here. We're going to take this over to the sink and we're going to drain the potatoes, put them right back in this bowl. Okay, this is going to be a little bit challenging, but I think I can do it. Okay. Now what we want here is for these potatoes to dry and get all the excess moisture off. So that's why we're going to dump them back in the pot. This bowl is dry, it's clean. We're going to dump these back in here and just kind of let them sit for about 30 seconds. Right inside there. I'm just going to go set it back on the stove. All right, our potatoes have had a chance to cool down and dry off here. So we're going to now dump them into this bowl that has our oil in it. Okay. Now's our chance to season them a little bit more, so we're going to throw a little more pepper on them. And you can just use salt and pepper if you want. I'm actually going to grab some other seasoning out of my cabinet here that I should have gotten out already, but didn't. Where's my Italiano? Right here. I'm going to use this. This is Cattleman's Grill Italiano seasoning. We like this. We're going to go not too heavy, but give it a decent little coat of some seasoning here. And now the trick is that we want to shake this bowl, get all that oil coated on these potatoes. We might need to stir them around a little bit, but I really want to rough up the edges. We want some mashed potato-ish coating on the outside of these potatoes, because that's what's going to get super crispy when we put them in the oven and let them roast here. So you can kind of see that starting to form, how they're just getting mushy looking. They're not real crisp pieces anymore. Just kind of roughing them up a little bit. This is why we start with big pieces, because we know that we're going to break the chunks up a little bit and they won't be as big when we're done as what they started at. So, okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to set this over here. And we're going to bring over a baking sheet. I have lined it with parchment paper. You don't have to do that. I just like it because it makes it easier and keeps them from sticking. And then we're just going to dump these out on here. I'm going to scrape all that mashed potato stuff off the sides of this bowl. It's got all our garlic oil and seasonings in it. And that is what we want. And now we're just going to try and spread these out so that they're in a nice thin layer, not stacked on top of each other. Spread them out a little bit. Okay. Now these go in the oven, 400 degrees on convection bake. If you don't have a convection roast oven, put it at 450 degrees. And we're going to cook them for about 40 minutes until they have a nice crispy golden brown color to them. I am going to set a timer for 20 minutes, which I don't think will be long enough, but we want to make sure we check them. Okay. Okay, since we have cleaned up a little bit from our potatoes and they are in the oven cooking, we are going to go ahead and get started on our pork tenderloin. Now, pork tenderloin is not the same as a pork loin. It's a much smaller cut of meat, much more tender, more flavorful. I really, really like this cut of meat. It's pretty cheap, usually comes in a 2-pack. This did come in a 2-pack. We will only eat one of them, so I separated it. We put the other one in the freezer. We will cook that one another time. But yeah, pretty good little piece of meat here. So first thing we're gonna do is just go through and trim it up a little bit. So these are pretty lean, like I said, but they do oftentimes have this little bit of a layer of silver skin on here, and that tends to be pretty chewy, and so you don't really want to eat that. So we're just gonna go ahead, stick our knife underneath that, kind of keep the edge pointed up, and slice right to the end. You get this little tab, and you can just kind of peel that stuff off of there. We're gonna clean this up a little bit. Doesn't take a lot. Don't have to get carried away here, but it will make it a better product in the end if we can clean a little bit of that stuff up. Don't want to cut off too much meat, so keep the knife right under the surface if at all possible, and you won't lose much. Okay. That looks pretty good. That's pretty minimal loss for the size of that meat there. So, all right, now we're gonna go ahead and season this up. The first thing I wanna do is give it a coating of a little bit of olive oil for a binder. That's what I like to use. I'm gonna go ahead and take one of my gloves off so I can handle my olive oil without getting stuff all over it. Ooh, that was plenty. But we'll just mix that around, flip it over, get both sides. The olive oil is just there to help our rub stick to the outside of this meat. So we're using the same seasoning that I used on the potatoes. That's why I used it there. Kind of ties the two dishes together a little bit. And not a super heavy coat. It's a pretty small coat or piece of meat, so we don't need a heavy dusting, but enough that we get some flavor out of it. Go ahead and roll it, make sure we get every side of it. Okay, and we're just gonna let that hang out there for a minute while we get our skillet ready. Alright, so we're back over at the stove top here, and we are going to turn on the burner. We've got our cast iron skillet here, and we're going to put a generous amount of olive oil in, enough to cover the bottom of that pan. And let that get hot. And all we're trying to do here is sear this pork tenderloin. We want to get it nice and browned on the outside, but we're not trying to cook it all the way through. So we're going to put it in, give it about 2 minutes on each side, kind of turn it, rotate it a little bit, and then the last one, as soon as we turn it, we'll give it maybe 30 seconds or something, and we're going to pull this off, stick it straight in our oven. I happen to have a oven that I can split the top and the bottom into 2 different cooking temperatures. So we've got our potatoes on the top that are cooking at 400 degrees. We've set the bottom to preheat at 350 degrees. If you don't have that, you can cook them both at 400. It'll be okay. You just have to watch the meat a little bit closer, and it might go a little bit faster. So that oil's heating up. We're gonna get our pork tenderloin. I'm gonna grab a set of tongs to be able to handle it and turn it really well. And we'll get this seared up. All right, now the meat is a little bigger than the pan, so it's gonna have to go in a little bit of a circle. We do still have our garlic hanging out over there. We're gonna come back to that. We're not done with it. Okay. It's a little splattery. It's okay. You see we got a decent crust there. Probably could have went a little bit longer on that side. We'll give this one a little bit longer. All right, let's go ahead and flip this. Should just be one more time. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, now we're not going to go quite as long on the stove here because that pan is going to have some residual heat, and when we put it in the oven, it's going to keep cooking the bottom and searing it a little bit. But we kind of want that pan to start cooling down before it burns the bottom there. So just a couple more seconds here, and then we're just going to go straight into our bottom oven at 350 degrees. So now both of our dishes are in the oven and they are cooking. The potatoes have about 4 or 5 minutes left on that first 20-minute timer. And so we will check those then. We might stir them around a little bit, make sure nothing's sticking, but it's on that parchment paper, so it shouldn't. If you don't have paper on it, you'll want to get a spatula, scrape them around, keep them from sticking to the bottom of the pan. And we're going to keep a close eye on that pork tenderloin. We are shooting for 140 degrees. No more than that. 145 absolute max. Otherwise it will start to dry out and not be as tender for you. So if you have a thermometer that you can stick in like a probe and monitor it from outside the oven, that's a great idea. I'm just going to use my instant read right now. I do have one of those, but we're just going to use my instant read and check it a couple of times. And once we hit 140, it comes out of the oven. All right, our first timer is going off, so we're going to check those potatoes here real quick. Hold on. The family is home to enjoy this stuff when it's done here shortly. So we're just going to stir these around a little bit. You can see how they're starting to crisp up though, getting a little brown. They need some more time, but we are getting there.
Hi guys.
All right, we are, I just checked our meat here and it's only been, I don't know what the timer says. It's probably only been 10, 15 minutes. And it was just at 140, 138. Now we're way above that. There, you want it, you know, the coldest spot has to be at least 140. So we are there. This needs to come out. Okay. Our potatoes look pretty good. We're gonna give them a few minutes yet because the meat needs to rest.
And they look good.
All right, so we pulled that out of the oven. We're just gonna go ahead and peel it out of that hot cast iron and set it on a plate here. Look at that beautiful, oh, you guys can't see. Look at that beautiful color we've got on there. It looks fantastic. We're gonna let it rest for about 5 minutes before we slice into that. We're gonna go ahead and check our potatoes here now while that's resting. Grab a knife.
No, I want that.
Got a nice crust on them. I think these are good. They probably could go a little bit longer, but we're gonna call it good. It's getting crazy around here. All right, so these potatoes, we're gonna put back in a bowl here. We're gonna do this. Reasonably. And you remember that garlic mixture we've got over here? We're gonna go ahead and dump that on top. Now's a good opportunity for more seasoning if you want. We're not gonna put any more of our Italian on, but we'll throw a little bit more pepper in there. And toss it around. Grab my wooden spatula and whoop. Can you stir it? You can stir it a little bit. Guest appearance by Brayson. What do you think? They look good?
Yeah.
Ready to eat?
Yeah.
All right, let's get a plate and then we're gonna cut into our pork tenderloin over here. We got our cutting board out here. We're gonna transfer our meat over to that. I probably could have put it straight on the cutting board to rest, but it's been about long enough. We're gonna cut it right in half here. Beautiful, juicy, looks fantastic. So we're just gonna slice this.
Juicy.
I know, doesn't look good.
Yeah.
This piece is gonna fall apart, that's okay. I can grab the other one.
Does that meat take forever to chew?
No, this is super tender, really, really good meat. Fork would have been better than these tongs, but there you go. There's our pork tenderloin. All right, let's get you a plate, Brayson.
Okay.
If you can't tell yet, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of person. You've seen 2 recipes of cooking food now, and both meat and potatoes. So we're gonna
You already have that much.
throw a few of these potatoes on a plate for Brayson. How's that? Good? How many pieces of meat you want? 1 or 2?
2.
2 pieces, he says. All right.
Nope.
All right, Brayson. Whoa.
Huh.
I was coming to cut it for you. It's fine. You can do whatever you want. Put your fork in there. Let's see. This is harder when it's 2 people. All right, eat that piece. Tell me if it's any good.
Best thing I ever had.
Ooh, look at that. How about the potatoes? Hey, you can have it. I don't care.
I don't care.
The manners here, I tell you what. Are they hot? Does it taste okay? All right. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for tuning along for this episode of Baking Bakers. We'll be back next week with another recipe. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up for us. Let us know what you want to see. Like I said, smoking and grilling season is coming fast. I know Mom's got a couple of videos that she's getting ready to make for us here, and I hope you guys are enjoying this content. If you haven't figured it out yet, we are not professionals. Like, this is real food made in our kitchens. Anybody can do this. Everything that I'm doing here, I've learned mostly from my mom, from YouTube videos, from just trying stuff and doing it and seeing how it works. So if you guys are making them and trying this stuff, let us know in the comments how it goes, what you think. It's okay if you don't like it. It's great if you do. But we appreciate all the feedback and you guys following along and subscribing and helping us grow this channel. So thank you guys. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Dad.
Is it good, Rayleigh girl? You like it? Awesome.